All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about something you see every single day, something that has kind of quietly become one of the most powerful ways we all talk to each other on the entire planet. I mean, you know this face, right? Of course you do. This is Kabosu, the Shiba Inu we all know and love as Doge. This picture has been seen, I don't know, billions of times. It's basically a pillar of internet culture. We've all seen it, we've all had a laugh. But here's a thought. What if this is more than just a funny dog picture? What if it's actually a key, a kind of Rosetta Stone for a whole new global language? It sounds crazy, but let's break it down.
Okay, so first things first. Before we can really get into their power, we have to be on the same page. What exactly is an internet meme?
Well, the official definition is a pretty good place to start. It's any piece of content, an image, a video, some text, that gets copied and spread super fast, usually with little tweaks along the way. And those two words are key: copied and spread. See, a meme isn't just a picture you look at once. No, it's designed to be changed, to be remixed, to be made your own. And what's really wild is that the idea of a meme is actually way older than the internet. A biologist, Richard Dawkins, came up with the term way back in 1976. He saw it as a cultural gene, an idea that copies itself and spreads from person to person. The internet just poured jet fuel on that fire. And that led to some of the first things we'd recognize as memes today, these image macros. Just a simple picture with some bold text on it, like the classic All Your Base from back in 2001. Okay, and this brings us to the real heart of it all. Memes. They aren't just random. They aren't just silly jokes thrown at a wall. They actually have a structure. You could almost call it a visual grammar. And it's something we can all learn to read. And this part is so crucial. Nothing in a meme is there by accident. Seriously. Every single piece of it, the picture they chose, the font, the words, it's all a choice. And each choice helps create the meaning. There's actually a whole field of study for this stuff, social semiotics, that's all about decoding these kinds of hidden messages. So, let's go back to our friend Doge. Think about it. The image itself, right, that sideways glance is so human-like, it creates this instant connection with you, the viewer. Then you've got the font, Comic Sans. Our brains are wired to see that font and just immediately think, okay, this is for fun, don't take it seriously. And then there's the text, that kind of cute, broken English. It gives Doge this unique, innocent, and hilarious voice. All three things have to work together to land the joke. So this basically gives us a simple three-step playbook for decoding pretty much any meme you come across. Step 1, look at the picture. What's the vibe? Happy? Angry? Confused? Step 2, read the words. What's the tone here? Sarcastic? Super direct? And then step 3, you just smush them together. That's where the magic is, right? In that combination. That's where the image and text cook up a brand new, layered meaning. All right, so memes have a grammar. We've established that. But how in the world does that grammar work across different languages, different cultures? This, to me, is where things get really, really interesting. I think this quote from the Chinese magazine Q Daily just hits the nail on the head. Memes travel so well because, first and foremost, they're about feelings. Shared feelings. At their core, they're just little emotion delivery systems. And you see this playing out everywhere. The Doge picture, the template, that's global. But the flavor, that's totally local. So in English, the whole joke is the silly grammar. But in China, you might see that exact same picture with a totally different phrase, like as you like, which connects that dog's expression to a completely different cultural idea. It's the same template, but it's sparking a brand new conversation. And when researchers looked at thousands and thousands of memes from all over in different languages, they found something really telling. Sure, lots of memes are happy, but the single most common emotion, it's actually anger, followed by happiness, then sadness. It turns out that really intense emotions, especially the negative ones, are just incredibly powerful. They make us want to share. They create this instant bond that just jumps right over language barriers. Which brings us to what I think is the most revolutionary part of this whole thing. Memes aren't designed by some marketing team in a boardroom. Nope, they're made by us, by everyone. There's a term for this, participatory culture, and it just means it's a culture that's super easy to join. The barriers to entry are incredibly low. You don't need a design degree, you don't need fancy software. All you really need is an idea and a phone. And this kind of culture, it has its own set of rules. For one, the content comes from the grassroots, from the bottom up. The tools to make stuff, they're usually free and super easy to find. But the most important rule is this: you're not just a consumer anymore. You're not just watching. You are also a producer and a distributor. It means you can take a shared template, something everyone recognizes, like Doge, and use it to say something totally personal. Just think about that for a second. In the world of memes, you're never just in the audience. You're always, always a potential creator. So, let's bring it all together. Where does this leave us? Are memes really a new global language? Well, the case for it is pretty strong. Memes are this huge fundamental shift in how we communicate. It's a bottom-up system where culture isn't handed down to us from some media company. Instead, it's being built and rebuilt, remixed and argued over constantly by this massive global community. It's a language, yeah, but one made of pictures, feelings, and a whole lot of inside jokes. And that leaves us with one last massive question to think about. If memes really are this new global language, and if we are all the ones creating it together right now, what kind of world are we actually building with it?